So, what does a year actually sound like? Well, here in the Philippines, it's this incredible mix of heartbreaking ballads, absolutely electric pop anthems, and some really raw hip hop beats. Today, we're going to dive deep into the data, into the millions and millions of streams that tell the story of 2025, and we're going to find out which song truly captured the heart of the nation.
So the big question is simple, right? Which track managed to fight its way through all the noise to claim that number one spot? And you gotta understand, this wasn't just about chart positions. This was a fierce, year-long competition for the hearts, the minds, and of course, the headphones of an entire country.
But the story of 2025 isn't just about one single winner. It's really about this fascinating clash of sounds. You've got the established, super emotional ballads that have defined OPM for so long on one side. And on the other, you have this new wave of high-energy challengers who are basically rewriting the rulebook.
To really get this battle, we have to start with the absolute bedrock of OPM. I mean, the first half of our top 10 proves, without a doubt, the incredible staying power of that hugot wave. You know, those heartfelt, sometimes gut-wrenching ballads that just connect so deeply with Filipino listeners.
Okay, let's break this down. What we're seeing here is this awesome mix of veterans and some of the newer acts. At number 10, you've got December Avenue. Their appeal is just timeless. Then KZ Tandingan at number 9 with that soulful R&B showing an established star is still at the absolute top of her game. Then you have Adi and Arthur Neri who are really representing that new wave of romantic indie. And of course, Ben and Ben at number 6 with a message of self-love that's still such a powerful anthem for so many people. So what does this all tell us? Well, the takeaway is crystal clear. That emotional core of OPM, that hugot sound, it isn't going anywhere. It's the foundation of the charts. It's the go-to sound for everything from your late-night feels to your wedding playlist. It is a cultural constant. Okay, but while the ballads are the bedrock, there are these new forces that are causing some serious seismic shifts. P-pop and hip-hop, they're not just genres anymore. They are full-blown movements. And in 2025, they really showed up to challenge the status quo in a huge way. And this is where you can really see the two worlds collide. Traditional ballads, they build this slow burn, deep emotional connection. But this new wave of P-pop and hip-hop, they operate on a totally different frequency. We're talking about incredibly powerful fandoms, beats that are just infectious, and the kind of momentum that sparks these viral, sometimes global moments. And look, you absolutely cannot talk about this shift without talking about Beanie. After a phenomenal 2024, they just carried that incredible energy straight into 2025. This wasn't just some fleeting moment. This was a movement that totally solidified their status, earning them the title of Most Streamed Female OPM Artist of the Year. I mean, what a landmark achievement for Pinoy girl groups. All right, cracking into the top 5 now, and we see another huge force in music, the power of the TV soundtrack. Coming in at number 5 is Sabawat Sandali by Emil Sol. The explosion in popularity for this track was almost entirely fueled by its feature in a hit series, which just proves that the right song in the right show can still create a massive, massive cultural moment. And at number 4, we have a major, major breakthrough. My Day by Hail Mary wasn't just another song, it was a statement. With its undeniable swagger and a beat that just gets in your head, this track spearheaded a huge resurgence for Pinoy Hip-Hop. It really proved that a new sound could connect powerfully with Gen Z and just completely shatter that ballad ceiling. And that brings us to the absolute pinnacle of the 2025 charts, the top 3. These are the songs that didn't just get streams, they defined conversations, they started trends, and they battled it out fiercely for that coveted number 1 spot. So, coming in at the 3rd position, we have a modern romantic phenomenon. Landing at number 3 is Marilag by Dionella. This song was absolutely everywhere. The secret sauce here was that seamless blend of English verses with a beautifully poetic Filipino chorus. It created a track that felt both universal and at the same time deeply personal, and that powerful combo secured Dionella's place as a top 5 most streamed local artist. And the runner-up, a track that proved the timeless, endearing power of a classic love song. Claiming the number 2 spot is T-Bok by Earl Augustin. This one was a bit of an underdog story. It was a late-year contender that just surged in the final months. It just goes to show you that even with all the new sounds emerging, Filipino listeners will always, always embrace a fresh voice singing a song that just makes your heart beat a little bit faster. All right, we've seen the power of the ballads, we've seen the rise of P-pop, and the big breakthrough of hip-hop. But there can only be one track crowned the undisputed king of streams for the year.
And the #1 most streamed OPM song in the Philippines for 2025 is Multo by Cup of Joe. The Baguio-based band didn't just top the charts, they completely owned them.
So why this song? What made Multo #1? Well, it just perfectly captured the cultural moment. It blended this nostalgic alt-rock vibe with a modern synth-pop feel, and it created this powerful anthem for anyone who's ever dealt with the ghosts of their past. And the data? Well, the data's undeniable. Cup of Joe wasn't just a fan favorite, they were crowned the most streamed OPM artist overall, and Multo broke records for the longest-running #1 on the Billboard Philippines Hot 100. A truly historic achievement. When you look at all the data from 2025, it paints a really clear picture. The Philippine music scene is in a massive transition. That emotional core of OPM ballads is still a super powerful force, but the explosive energy of P-pop and hip-hop is reshaping the entire landscape. And that leaves us with this huge question for next year. Is that bedrock of ballads going to hold firm, or is a new sound about to take over completely?